Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. Today we're doing a little bit more with our Harvest Right freeze dryer, but it's time to change the oil. So let me show you how to service the oil in the vacuum pump. Your Harvest Right comes with a little filtering system here, and you can see this is oil that's been filtered from the last time, but if you look down here, there's a little water that's come down through there. Now I'm going to take this top off and you can look down in here and you can see there's quite a bit more water that's separated here. Now when you go to pour this oil off, you don't want to pour this water into your container, so just be careful whenever you do that. So I'm going to get this poured up and then we'll show you how to service this pump. We've got our container emptied, so we're ready to start over. One thing I wanted to explain is when you see all that water that's separated out of that oil whenever you're filtering this, understand that water was in this pump, and that's why it's important to keep these pumps serviced correctly, you know, every 4 to 5 batches, because what's going to happen is that water builds up and it's going to be circulating. Now this oil is designed so it can handle some of it, but you don't want to think that you're full of oil by your gauge and you've got a lot of water in there, so make sure you do that regular. But anyway, when you go to service this, just go ahead and remove the fill plug up here at the top. Now a lot of times the O-ring wants to stick, just roll it back down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open this drain valve and we're going to let this drain. Now this will take a while, but anyway, I suggest you get something to prop it up on the back so it's at an angle, and then just give it time to let it drain out. And like I say, it's going to take a while. It's not going to be no big fast process. And once this drains, then we'll show you from there. Okay, we've got it all drained out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding fluid to it. And what we'll do is we'll put the fluid that we filtered out the last time. Now when you order one of these, they'll send fluid with you, but you want to be careful. You don't want to overfill it, otherwise you're going to have to drain it down some more. Once it starts getting to a level to where it starts moving and filling up, sometimes it moves pretty fast. So as you can see, it really starts to move, and once it gets there, so just a little bit more, and then what we'll do, and I have this plugged into the power source. I've got it disconnected from the back of the machine, because I always like to once I fill it up, I like to turn it on for just a minute. And then shut it off. That way, if it needs any to refill the pump part of it or something, I know I've got the level right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm already here, so what I'm fixing to do is start a batch in my freeze dryer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start this with its cool down, and so to cool down the chamber, and I'm going to check my oil one more time. Now your manual will say indications if your oil starts getting cloudy, you may need to service it more often than 2 to 5 times on the standard pump. Now, when you get to your premium pump or your oilless, it's a different thing. But we're just going to talk about the standard pump. And anyway, the oil level is perfect where it should be. And we're going to do a really mixed batch of items here in our freeze dryer today. What I have here are dehydrated tomatoes, and what I have done is I have dehydrated these for about 24 hours. They're getting where they're kind of leathery, but they still have more moisture than what I'd like to have in them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to freeze dry them, because when they're dehydrated and then they're freeze dried, I really like the texture of them. But if I was just to freeze dry them, they wouldn't shrivel up. They would still maintain pretty much their shape and be a lot more airy. And I like them to be a little bit crunchier or chewier. Also, what I have here is I have some nice orange habaneros, and when I make my salsa I use a certain amount. And so what I've done is I've taken, and I have these 2 trays will make up one batch of salsa, and this one will make up a different habanero salsa. So and I've actually put a label in the corner here where I can tell which one is which. And then I have another sauce that I make which uses a serrano, so I've pre-measured them and I put them in here. And the reason why I'm telling you this is if you make like a hot sauce, like you would pour on something, you know, for a little seasoning, and peppers aren't going to be in season all year long, so the freeze dryer is excellent for that. I could dehydrate these, but one thing about the way the freeze dryer dries it is it makes it to where it's easier to powder, and so when I make my sauces I blend them up. So ideally, if they're not as leathery, or they don't really get leathery, but if they're not as hard, they'll break up better, and they'll incorporate into the sauce better whenever I put them in the blender. But I thought I might add that as a note. And another thing about peppers are, make sure your cool time is long enough, because whenever or your freeze drying time is extended long enough, because this section in here tends to need a little bit of extra drying time, especially when you have bigger ones like the habaneros. A lot of them will do fine, but you'll find that the bigger ones are not all the way dried, and then you end up having to extend your time. So it's better if you just go ahead and know that, and then extend it. But anyway, I hope this video helps you when it comes to servicing your vacuum pump, and I hope you picked up a few other tips from it. If you want to see more of my videos on gardening or preserving, just hit that subscribe, hit the bell button so you'll be notified, and if you like it, give it a big thumbs up. Happy gardening.